Welcome to Bitter Reality Brewing. Today, we're brewing an IPA. Don't forget, go ahead, like, subscribe, keep sharing. And yes, you know me, it's always a little different, but I decided I didn't have an all-grain IPA on tap. I have the brew Ferm, but that's an extract, and I really want an all-grain, kind of heavy hitter IPA, somewhere in the high sevens, mid sevens. Probably gonna end up closer to 8 after I figured out some other calculations, and I was like, yeah, I'll just go for it. I'm calling it a Cascadian Rye. And reason being is it's going to have 14 ounces of Cascade hops, not including any dry hopping because I haven't decided what I want to do for the dry hopping. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's got 9 pounds, 12 ounces of brewer's malt, 2-row, which is a pale ale. 2 pounds, 3.5 ounces of rye. And you're going, why 3.5 ounces? It's kind of an odd number. Because that's exactly what I had left in rye. And I wanted 2.5 pounds, 2 pounds, 3.5 ounces, that'll work. Then I'm going for that black swan, however you want to say it, honey biscuit that I had mentioned I'd used once before, I bought recently, but adding a whole half pound of that bad boy in there. 4 ounces of acid malt to help with the pH, should kick us close to 5.22. And then 4 ounces of Cararoma. I don't know why, but Cararoma was calling my name, and I figured it would give it a little more aroma as far as on the malt to balance out some of the hop aroma. It won't make it that much more malty, because it's really not going to be a heavily malty beer, but yeah, it'll work out really well. Then we're dropping 4 ounces of Cascade hops at 15 minutes, another 3 ounces at 10, 3 ounces at 5, and 4 ounces into the whirlpool for 10 minutes, which I'm gonna do at 140 Fahrenheit. It's something I've been reading different temperatures a while back, and I just feel that's more appropriate to get a little more of the flavor and aroma without any of the bittering. But I have a lot of Cascade hops, more than any other hops, and that's why I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna pump a ton of Cascade in here. I'm not even gonna have a 60-minute. I'm just gonna drop it all back to back towards the end and push that IBU up. The IBU should come in somewhere around 75. The hops themselves were actually a 7.7% alpha acid, and this is something I don't talk about much, but what I did is I adjusted for age. And when I adjusted for the age based on Beersmith, the approximate alpha acid would be 6.05 based on leaving it in a frost-free refrigerator or freezer, which means it's at 0, but it comes up and down a little bit whenever it's doing its little frost thing to keep from freezing up, which means it stops cooling and starts heating a tiny bit, but hey, that's what it is. And we should be sitting, according to Beersmith, around 7.6, but I estimate it's probably gonna be closer to 8%, because they're estimating a final gravity of 1.017, and I'm estimating final gravity is probably 1.012. Looking to use Omega, either the 401, which get a little strawberry and some other fruit, or the one that I originally intended to use is the double IPA from Omega. I think it's 054, I'll have to double check, but either way, we're gonna use one of the Omega yeasts. I've got 4 yeasts going, you know me, I always have backups, but only 3 apply to this. I needed some more 565, so I'm just kind of building up my 565 stock for another brew that's coming up. Let's get brewing. Okay, let's go ahead and add the brewing salts. And somebody mentioned adding it to the sparge water. Yes, you can break it apart, figure out how much goes everywhere. Don't put anything that's going to create a alkaline or base, such as baking soda, calcium carbonate, yeah. But I'm good with just dumping it all into the mash. I haven't had a problem, and the beer's been tasting great. So. Calcium chloride likes to stick to everything and anything. You may see some cameo appearances today from a dog and our cat, which is Pepper the dog and Kit Kat the cat. They're out and about, and I apologize for the constant changes, but like I said, we are working to sell our house, move, and move again before we get to our final destination. About 2 pounds of rye in here, so a little over 2 pounds of rye, so I'm gonna drop some rice hulls. Like I said, you don't have to blend the rice hulls in because they float, and as you stir everything in, it will blend in. So yes, you still want to blend it. And I did not forget my small batch adapter this time. Yeah, some of the rice hulls sink, but the majority do not. Let me get my malts as mixed up as I like them to be. So I have to play a little careful here. Okay, we're gonna get mashed in. I was gonna do 150. I decided to drop it down to 149. Make it a little drier, get a little more of the fermentable sugars, not much between those two. But I figured every degree counts to one direction or the other. Using this so I can lower it down and ease it in because it's very windy out here and I don't want to get hit in the face with a bunch of malt dust. Close her up, sitting at 153. I set it for 149. It's okay, we're mashed in. That's why I say don't crank that way up. Because your strike temperature on an all-in-one like this with 240, especially 240 over 110, and just the way the systems are designed now, they're not going to drop drastically, if at all. So, and mine usually goes up as I'm adding grains, which is kind of crazy. So I dropped it to 55%. That actual should drop back down close to the 149 and we should be good to go. Another reason I went for the 149, knowing that I might have a few little spikes. I'm gonna go get the pump put on here and let it go. Okay, didn't get it on camera, but we mashed for an extra 30 minutes. For some reason, my power cord is really tight. Normally it's got a little bit of slack, but it's super tight. It's kind of cold. Maybe the cord's really cold and the rubber's pulling it. Definitely has some shrinkage there. So we're gonna kick it up to 168, leave it there for 10 minutes and sparge it, mash out, be done. You know what I'm saying? Okay, we're gonna let that drain and then we'll sparge. Okay, I've lifted it up. We're gonna let it drain, cranked it up to boil. It's dropping down. Starting to try to wonder why the temperature drops when you pull this out. I'm thinking there's some water trapped, but I'm not sure. That's for another test. I would need 2 Anvils to really compare, or it would take a very long brew day or 2-day brew day. I prefer them at the same environmental conditions. Okay, I'm heating up my sparge water and we'll be good. Okay, so we're at 200 Fahrenheit. I'm running behind. Hoping I'm not going to get a boil here real quick, but we're going to start sparging. Okay, when we're done sparging, we'll rock on. Okay, I had to stop the temp for a minute. Basically, I sparged a little fast and kind of compacted the mash down a little bit, which my fault. Stirred it up a little bit. I know I'm going to get some grains probably leaching in there through the holes, but you do what you got to do. Not a big deal. It'll come out in the end. I'm going to go ahead and move the grain basket over here to my pot, which is that same pot that I normally use for sparging and for putting the grains in when I crush them. And there we go. We'll be up to a boil here shortly. You can see the foam. I'm not even going to waste any time. Taking the defoamer and one tiny drip. Boop, and that's it. All it takes. And just to make sure I don't have anything sitting on the bottom, because I did have the rye crushed pretty good, as far as on the finer crush of a 0.025 of an inch. I don't like stirring too much when still trying to come up to temp, but I want to get that defoamer stirred in a little bit. Kind of shocked I have this much foam. Maybe I pulled off the defoamer. Maybe it was floating above. I may have pulled that defoamer out because we're still rising. So here we go. And there's the drip. And we'll stir it in. I guess that's it. You gotta wait for the foam to come up and drip it in and stir it up, and now there's no foam. Got a little tiny bit, nothing major. Cool. We got a 90-minute boil. We've got several hop additions and we'll rock on. Okay, we're in the last 15 minutes, time to add the hops. I've decided to say screw it and just use the whole pound of Cascade hops. Not at the 15-minute mark, but I'm gonna do 4 ounce 15, 4 ounce at 10, 4 ounce at 5, 4 ounce at the 10-minute whirlpool. I'm just gonna blow away that entire pound. Like I said, I got over a couple pounds of that stuff. So here goes the first 4 ounces. I'm hoping the hop spider can handle it, because if not, eventually I may have to go to a much bigger system to do these crazy hop additions. But I just changed it from rye IPA to double IPA as far as the profile, and everything's like now in the middle, except for the ABV is a little low, but I know that's actually going to end up in the middle or close to the middle because we know the final gravity is dead wrong as my glasses are fogging up beyond all belief. So I'm going to get a little bit of a whirlpool going on the 15, and then we'll drop a 10 and a 5, and we'll have our 0, and then we'll do our whirlpool. Okay, here goes our 10-minute edition. Nothing but hops. Okay, I have found a problem when adding this many hops. The dry sit on top of the gunk. Ah, crap, come on. Get in there. Come on. May have to dump it in there and pray don't clog the filter, but you know I probably will. Okay, I'm doing something that is probably going to be stupid, and I'm probably going to regret it. Well, first of all, I'm going to regret it because I'm going to burn myself. So let me go get some gloves. I'm probably going to regret this, but we're just going to dump the hops in here to make sure that it's getting complete and total coverage. And I cannot see. Oh, I got most of it. It's a tiny bit in the bottom. I do mean a tiny bit for the bowl thing. Fudge. Okay, here's our last 5-minute addition. Just dumping it in the wort. Stir that up a little bit. Then I'm going to put the Jaded Scylla in there so it can cool, or so it can sterilize for that last 5 minutes. So 4.5 minutes, so whatever you want to start counting. There you go. It is like a green beer in there now. And it is a couple days past St. Patrick's Day. Okay, I doubt I'm going to be able to use this, but towards the end I'm going to see if I can't get the hops all into a center. Wait a minute. Oh no, yeah, I'm barely going to be able to use this, but I might be able to use it. So I just want to get it, you say, kind of cooked, sterile, or as close to sterile, sanitized as possible. Okay, let's start dropping temp. Oh, crap. I forgot a bunch of little things, so we're going to be going an extra minute here. Work. Okay, here goes the wharf lock. Yeast nutrient. Dump a little extra in there. I'm going to get it down close to 140, and then I'm going to turn that off. And then I'm going to start the whirlpool up. So let's start with chill. Okay, we're sitting pretty close to 5, just over 5, but all this hop matter, we're going to be less than 5, and then with all the dry hopping, we'll be even lower than that. It's all good. We'll see how it comes out. Worst case, I'll be drinking liquid hops. Agitation going on. The hop matter seems to be going through the pump without a problem. Kudos, Anvil. Kudos. Definitely bonus points. Okay, we're dropping down really fast. So I'm gonna see if I can get a little whirlpool going. I'm gonna kill the water flow. Okay, we're gonna do this for about 10 minutes. Okay, I've agitated the hell out of it. It is like hop city on top. I'm gonna drop the temp, let it start falling. Okay, the camera and microphones are all gonna die here soon from the batteries. We're close to 80 degrees, plus and minus, it keeps bouncing. It's gonna be down here shortly. I'm just gonna move it to the all-rounder FermZilla, and we'll bring it inside, and then we'll talk about pitching the yeast and a little addition. Not sure how we did it. Sitting a hair above 80%. I did not expect that. What I expected was probably in the high 70s, but I think part of it was with that extended mash. Lost power, it dropped down to 130, I had to bring it back up. I had a few other issues. Nothing out of the ordinary for a home brewer. So I put the floated or flotted, however you want to say it, in here instead of the one that came with it. I know some people got upset with me on that video, but you know what? It's just a better product. It's going to do a better job. And I'm going to have not only plenty of yeast poop, I'm going to have a ton of hops in here. Credit out to Martin with Homebrew Challenge. I know somebody else may have come up with this, but he's the one I learned it from. And it made perfect sense, is putting your hops in a little bag and putting magnets. I had to do 3 magnets because it was sagging. I had 4 ounces of hops and I couldn't get it tight enough. I made the bag a little longer than I needed and I cut it down, but I left a huge gap because I know those hops are going to hit the liquid and they're going to expand. So essentially what we're going to do is, well, first let's pitch the yeast and then I'll tell you what we're going to do. I got Sundew from Omega 401. I really was considering using this instead because it has a higher attenuation, which means I'm going to get a little drier, a little more ABV, and the flocculation is also higher, which means it's going to fall out and going to grab some of that hot particle and bring all that crap out of there. The original one I was considering, which is the one I'm going to go with, and I'll explain why, is Omega Labs, both of them Omega Labs, 52. 52 is the double IPA, even though it's only going up somewhere around, I think, 10%, and the Sundew, I think, goes to 11. I could have those off by 1 point, but close enough. It's a Conan strain. It's got the peach, the apricot, the pineapple. It really complements those citrus and those types of, fruity hops, which is what the Cascade is. It's got a hint of floral and some other hints of stuff in it, but it will complement that hop a great deal. The Sundew sounded like it might complement it, but I'm sorry, I may have to do a strawberry wheat or a strawberry milkshake. It's supposed to have strawberry, passion fruit, pear, and stone fruit, and with the, the strawberry-looking label, I figured it was going to lean on the strawberry side. All I smell is ripe strawberry, and it smells great, but I just don't think it will fit the profile I'm looking for on an Imperial IPA or Rye IPA, however you want to call it. Should come in right around 8% now that I've adjusted some things, so we should be good. One of the adjustments was adding the yeast to the actual beer smith, which then all of a sudden gave me a much lower FG. I guess I forgot to put that in there, so it is what it is. I'm also going to drop the Clarity Ferm from Whitelabs, not because I'm going for a clear IPA, although I would love it to be a little on the clear side, but I'm starting to realize after doing some tests of my own that I'm starting to have some issues with gluten, which I think I've always had, but getting worse. So if I can put this in there, it's technically going to be 20 parts per million, which means that technically it's gluten-free. And I've been doing some things with breading and some with gluten-free breading, and the gluten-free breading doesn't upset my stomach or bother me. That does. So you do what you can to enjoy your hobby and do what you want to do. So I'm going to take this, which you just add right before you add the yeast, and I know I'm going to spill it if I do it that way. This is one issue I have with the FermZilla, but it's minor. It's just maybe I'm weak, is getting this lid back off, and it's not even screwed on. Now, let's see if I can do this without making a big old mess. Gotta be a better trick to that. I will tell you, if you screw this on a little too tight, but you want it tight because you're going to be doing this under pressure. you need to buy one of these things. I know the fancy one, the high end, come with something like this, which is great. I bought this one. This one's a little small. I needed to buy something a tiny bit bigger, but it works. It does the job. You get grip and it helps to pull this thing as far as this piece off, not that piece. I am happy that it seals tight. It's just extremely tight. I'm gonna go ahead and drop that in there. I hit the hop bag, but nope. And I got 3 magnets holding that giant hop bag up there. It's got 4 ounces of hops. So we dropped a total of 1 pound of hops at 15, 10, 5, 0. And then on top of that, I have 4 ounces of dry hopping sitting here. And I might even add another 4 ounces and put it in, something like this and kick it over to a keg, but I'm debating on that one. I mean, I'm kind of going a little crazy now, and I already nicknamed the beer the Green Beast because I didn't even try to get the hop matter out. There's a little bit in the keg or in the Anvil. The majority of the hops are still in here doing their thing, hopefully in a good way and not in a bad way. Let's go ahead and pitch the yeast and rock on here so we can get this into a fermentor with an OR. Okay, Headless Horseman's gonna have to take a stand for a minute, and I need this. There we go. Can't get the magnets apart, getting weaker by the moment. I have the stir bar in here, as you've probably seen, so that keeps it from falling out. Just got a nice, pleasant smell. And of course, I shove this back on like an idiot. There we go. Okay, let's take a look here because I'm only going to pitch a little bit better than half. Actually, I'm going to pitch right around half. I mean, I'm good at that. Probably dead on half. Okay, let's see if we can snap this on if that's it. Yeah, that's it. Okay, and pinching the finger, but it's all good. Okay, I did check something, and I don't know what the metal float is made out of, but the magnets didn't stick up to it, which is great. I went to the Keglen version that was supposed to be stainless steel. You have to really and they're earth magnets, you have to put them on their side to get them to kind of stick. So it's definitely got some metal on it, but I don't think the outer coating is metal is the part, because it had problems sticking, but it did stick to it. It just had to be completely touching it. It is round too, so it doesn't help sticking flat to flat, makes it so much easier. Okay, that's it. We're sitting at 1.081. I'll put the gravity stuff up if I remember, but we'll get that taken care of. Okay, that's it. We're sitting at, I believe it was 1.080 or 1.081. I'll make sure I note that, but we're all good. I'm gonna get this in the fermentor with an OR because it's in a I'm gonna get this in the fermentor with an OR because it's in a fermenter with an ER. Something I learned a while back, but something to be aware of. That's pretty much it. Thank you for joining us here at Bitter Reality Brewing. Don't forget to like, subscribe, keep sharing. Definitely appreciate it.